الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. ومن الناس من يتخذ من دون الله أندادا يحبونهم كحب الله، والذين آمنوا أشد حبا لله. ولو يرى الذين ظلموا إذ يرون العذاب أن القوة لله جميعا وأن الله شديد العذاب. إذ تبرأ الذين اتبعوا من الذين اتبعوا ورأوا العذاب وتقطعت بهم الأسباب. وقال الذين اتبعوا لو أن لنا كرة فنتبرأ منهم كما تبرأوا منا كذلك يريهم الله أعمالهم حسرات عليهم وما هم بخارجين من النار. يا أيها الناس كلوا مما في الأرض حلالا طيبا ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين. فإن زللتم من بعد ما جاءتكم البينات فاعلموا أن الله غفور رحيم. وإذا قيل لهم اتبعوا ما أنزل الله قالوا بل نتبع ما ألفينا عليه آباءنا أولو كان آباؤهم لا يعقلون شيئا ولا يهتدون. ومثل الذين كفروا كمثل الذي ينعق بما لا يسمع إلا دعاء ونداء صم بكم عمي فهم لا يعقلون. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. يا أيها الناس كلوا مما في الأرض حلالا طيبا ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين. إنما يأمركم بالسوء والفحشاء وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون. وإذا قيل لهم اتبعوا ما أنزل الله قالوا بل نتبع ما ألفينا عليه آباءنا أولو كان آباؤهم لا يعقلون شيئا ولا يهتدون. ومثل الذين كفروا كمثل الذي ينعق بما لا يسمع إلا دعاء ونداء صم بكم عمي فهم لا يعقلون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم واشكروا لله إن كنتم إياه تعبدون. إنما حرم عليكم الميتة والدم ولحم الخنزير وما أهل به لغير الله فمن اضطر غير باغ ولا عاد فلا إثم عليه إن الله غفور رحيم. إن الذين يكتمون ما أنزل الله من الكتاب ويشترون به ثمنا قليلا أولئك ما يأكلون في بطونهم إلا النار ولا يكلمهم الله يوم القيامة ولا يزكيهم ولهم عذاب أليم. أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى والعذاب بالمغفرة فما أصبرهم على النار ذلك بأن الله نزل الكتاب بالحق وإن الذين اختلفوا في الكتاب لفي شقاق بعيد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتل الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى فمن عفي له من أخيه شيء فاتباع بالمعروف وأداء إليه بإحسان ذلك تخفيف من ربكم ورحمة فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم. ولكم في القصاص حياة يا أولي الألباب لعلكم تتقون. كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت إن ترك خيرا الوصية للوالدين والأقربين بالمعروف حقا على المتقين فمن بدله بعدما سمعه فإنما إثمه على الذين يبدلونه إن الله سميع عليم. فمن خاف من موص جنفا أو إثما فأصلح بينهم فلا إثم عليه إن الله غفور رحيم. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداع إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون الله سمع الله لمن حمده وأقام الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak. I hope everyone is doing well at home. It's a very different kind of Ramadan this year, but one which we can still make the most of with the permission of Allah. It's still a blessed month. So let's always remember to thank Allah for all of the blessings that He has bestowed upon us. It's also a tough time. There are many people sick in the hospital. Some may have even passed away, maybe during Ramadan, maybe before this month began. May Allah make it easy on all of them. May He grant shifa to all of those who are suffering. And for those who may have passed, may Allah grant them Jannatul Firdaus without account. Allahumma ameen. So today I want to discuss a few ayat from the verses that Imam Nu beautifully recited a little while ago. So first in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 177, which Imam Nu began the third rak'ah with. So righteousness is not that you turn your faces towards the east or the west, but true righteousness is in one who believes in Allah, last day, the angels, the books, and the prophets, and gives wealth in spite of love for it to relatives, orphans, the needy, the traveler, and those who ask for help, and for freeing slaves, and who establishes prayer and gives zakah. Those who fulfill the promise when they promise, and those who are patient in poverty and hardship and during battle. Those are the ones who have been true, and it is those who are the righteous. So this verse is about many different things. It's a very comprehensive verse. There's many rulings in here. It deals a lot with Aqidah. But I want to focus on righteousness, which is al-bir in Arabic. And this ayah starts by mentioning that righteousness is not by turning to the east or to the west. And what does that mean? Right? So if we take it out of context, if we don't understand what the context of this verse is, it may not make sense, right? And there's a lesson here that we should always understand the verses of the Quran in context. So what does it mean, east and west? So is righteousness looking north and south, right? Is that what it means? So we have to know why this was revealed, right? And this was revealed because initially the Muslims would pray towards Jerusalem, right? And then the command came to pray towards the Kaaba. And this was not something easy for some of the Muslims and some of the people of the book. If it was something, a big change for them, right? And at the time, the Jews used to pray towards the west and the Christians faced east. So the fact that the Jews prayed toward the west, or that the Christians prayed east, that in itself was not a sign of righteousness, right? Because they rejected what the Prophet ﷺ came with. So Allah sent down this verse. And He said that it's not the actual facing east or facing west itself, right? That is not what automatically makes someone righteous. So what makes someone righteous, right? And Allah goes on to mention what makes someone righteous in the remainder of the ayah. So Allah mentions exactly what righteousness is. And it's believing in Allah as the only God, right, with no partners. Believing in the last day, the angels, the books, and the prophets. And this encompasses almost all of the core of our iman, right? The books meaning divinely revealed books, right? The Quran, of course, the original revelations of the Torah, the Bible, and other books that Allah has sent down. And then when we think about worship, right? Anyone can do an act of worship, right? If we found an atheist on the street and we told him we'd give him $1,000, maybe $5,000 to fast the month of Ramadan, come to Tarawih and sit doing the prayer and follow the movements, you know, someone would probably be willing to do that, right? For a good sum of money. But is that righteousness? Is the mere fact of fasting and the mere fact of just doing those acts, is that righteous in itself? Of course not, right? That person is doing it for a dunya gain. He's doing it for the money. So without belief in Allah and belief in those core tenets of Islam and all that entails, that in and of itself is not a righteous act. So we as Muslims, we need to believe in everything from our religion, every prophet, every aspect of the unseen, the angels, the books, and first and foremost, belief in Allah, right? Belief in Allah alone. So Allah goes on to mention in this ayah some other aspects of righteousness. One who gives his wealth in spite of love for it. And this is the month where we should be giving our wealth more freely. And there's great ways, so many great ways to give our wealth during this month. LaunchGood, for example, has a program called the Ramadan Challenge, where you can preset a certain amount of money, could be $1, $5, $20, whatever you want, right? And they'll automatically donate it to a good Islamic cause every day of Ramadan. So you set it and you forget it, and inshallah, you'll see those rewards in the hereafter. NYCMC also has a lot of great initiatives that we're doing to help the community, right? For example, NYCMC Angels. During this COVID-19 crisis, there's so many people suffering. The elderly people at home who can't go out and get groceries, people who are sick and can't go out. So who gives even a little bit of money to help people get the groceries they need can be a huge reward, especially during this month, right? And as humans, we love wealth, right? It's natural. And Allah knows this about us. And that's why such a high reward is really made for giving in charity and giving our wealth, right? And that's why. So, and Allah mentions that it's from righteousness to actually give our wealth away, despite our love for it. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the best charity is when you give it away while still healthy and thrifty, hoping to get rich and fearing poverty. And that's from Bukhari and Muslim. So Allah also mentions to whom the righteous give their money, right? So who should we give the money to, right? In order to try and be more righteous. So Allah says relatives, right? Orphans, the needy, the traveler, those who ask for help, and for freeing slaves. So our family has the most right than anyone for our charity. Orphans are also very deserving of our charity. And Islamically, an orphan is someone whose father has passed away while they were still young. Likewise, giving to the miskeen, right? The poor who don't even have the basic needs, right? This is a highly regarded act. So Allah also mentions a traveler. And a traveler, who is stranded, right? Not just any traveler, but someone who came to a foreign land and got stuck there. And nowadays, this may not be as common, right? We have credit cards, we have access to bank accounts. So you may come with a certain amount of money when you go traveling, and then you lose that money, or someone steals it from you or something happens, but you can usually get some money back or use your debit card or whatever it is to be able to get back home. But in the case of someone who is stranded and traveling and cannot get back home, that's a righteous cause to give charity, to give sadaqah to. And then freeing a servant, right? And that's something, of course, that was much more common in the Prophet ﷺ's time. So these are the categories that Allah had mentioned for righteousness, right? Who we should give our money to in order to be righteous, right? These are signs of righteousness. Next, Allah mentions that righteousness is in performing prayer. And of course, this ayah goes very deep, right? I'm barely covering the surface of this. But I really want to just mention some of the key points that we can take away today. So Allah mentions that righteousness is performing prayer, right? Praying on time, giving prayer its due right, staying focused. May Allah allow myself and all of us to be able to do this starting today until last day. Allahumma ameen. And lastly, Allah mentions giving zakah. And many people give their zakah during Ramadan. And we know it's a yearly obligation, but doing it during Ramadan is an easy way for us to remember. And also it's a way to really please Allah in this holiest of holy months. So to summarize, Allah mentions here that then just an act in of itself, that is not a sign of righteousness, right? In Islam, we always have to combine intention and belief with action. It's not enough just to have acts of the body, right? Just to pray and just to fast, but we have to have intent in the heart and belief in the mind. So let's apply that to fasting, for instance. Right? Just skipping food and drink for 12 hours, 14 hours, right? Skipping relations with our spouses, that isn't an inherent sign of righteousness. People do that all the time, right? Look at intermittent fasting, for example, right? Is that a righteous act, right? People fast sometimes for 24 hours, right? They do that to lose weight, maybe to make more gains, right? Stuff like that. But that's for a dunya gain, right? How would that be righteous, right? Allah doesn't need our fast. Allah is free of need, right? If we don't eat, right? If we fast, He is not in need of that, right? This is really, we're doing it to show our love for Allah and our obedience to Him. Also, when we sacrifice for Eid, for example, right? When if you have a child and you have to sacrifice for the aqiqah, another sacrifice that's highly recommended, Allah tells us in the Quran that the blood and the meat of that sacrifice, they don't reach Him, right? It's the piety. So again, this is in a different ayah of the Quran, but Allah is telling us that it's not the physical act necessarily, but it's the piety, right? It's the intent, it's love for Allah. That's what really counts. So it's our faith and love. That's what's really, really important. So we should definitely keep that in mind this month as we start our fast, and especially later on in the day during our fast. When we get more tired, always remember why we're doing it and who we're doing it for, right? That we're doing it for Allah. So later in the same ayat that Imam Nu recited, Allah speaks about Ramadan. And in the translation, the month of Ramadan is that in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance and criterion. So whoever sights the new moon of the month, let him fast it. And whoever is ill or on a journey, then an equal number of other days. Allah intends for you ease and does not intend for you hardship, and wants for you to complete the period and to glorify Allah for that to which He has guided you, and perhaps you will be grateful. So Allah tells us that the Quran was revealed in Ramadan. In a narration, it had been said that the Torah and the Injil were also revealed during this month, right? Of course, past, before the Prophet ﷺ, but revealed in the month of Ramadan. So later in the same ayah, Allah mentioned the sighting of the new moon at the start of Ramadan. And we know the new moon was sighted, and that's why Ramadan began yesterday evening, right? And usually, during that time, there's always these moon wars going on, right? Some people say they saw the moon. Some people say, no, we didn't see it. We're going to fast the next day. And there's this conflict and this disunity. But I think this time, especially with the COVID-19 situation and society being so different now, the moon wars didn't seem as intense this year, alhamdulillah. Another key point in this ayah, right? Allah mentions that those who are ill or who are traveling can make up those missed days at a later point, right? And this is an example of the ease that Allah gives us in the religion. So, like I mentioned before, right? It's not the physical act, it's having the intention and having the love for Allah and obedience towards Him that we do these acts. And Allah realizes that these acts are not always easy. And He gives us ease and He gives us mercy in these acts. So if you're traveling, right, which many of us will not be doing during Ramadan this time with the situation going on, but if we're ill, which many of us may be, may Allah protect us all, in that case, right, we don't have to fast. We can make up those days at a later point. And during Ramadan, some of the Sahaba, they were traveling with the Prophet ﷺ. And during that time, some of them would fast and some would not. And neither group would criticize the other, right? And that shows us that in our religion, there's room for multiple options, right? If you're traveling, for instance, and you want to fast, you can, right? If you don't want to fast, that's fine as well. But it's important to remember, especially with traveling and fasting, that it's not a sign of righteousness, right? To kind of really struggle through that fast and really go on this, maybe 20-hour plane ride and you're struggling the whole time, and that's not a sign of righteousness, right? If Allah gives us an ease, He gives us a way to make it easier for ourselves, it's a sign of our love for Him also that we avail ourselves of that. But again, if you want to fast during that time when you're traveling or you're sick, you can, right? It's so just like that story with the Sahaba, right? There's multiple options here, and this is also from Allah's mercy and from Allah's ease. So that's what we need to focus on this month, right? From today and here on out. When we do any act of worship, right, it needs to be for Allah's sake. It needs to be for the reason of pleasing Him and trying to seek His love and His mercy on the Day of Judgment. And we of course have to abide by the guidelines, though, right? We can't say, oh, I love Allah, I'm doing this for Allah, but I'm only going to fast 2 hours a day, right? Having no excuse. You just want to fast from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day, and that's it, right? That doesn't count. You can't say, oh, I love Allah, I'm doing it for Allah's sake, but I'm only going to pray Asr and Maghrib every day and no other prayers, right? We have certain rules, we have certain guidelines that we have to follow. And we have to do these physical acts the way we're prescribed to do them, but also with the right intent and with that love for Allah and a solid belief in all the aspects of Iman, so that we can, inshallah, be among the righteous. So may Allah bless our Ramadan. May He allow us to reap the rewards of this beautiful month. And I know I'm missing the community. I mean, being here in the masjid, there's nobody here. It's a huge, huge change from what we're used to. And it's very difficult, right? But it's also, there's a blessing in it. Whether we see that blessing or not, we know there's a bigger reason for this. We know that Allah has a bigger plan in mind. And, may Allah allow us all to realize this. Ameen. And may Allah allow us to use this time that we have at home with our families, time where, it's blessed during this month of Ramadan. May He allow us to use this time to our benefit, right? To do acts of worship and acts of good that will please Him and that will be weigh heavy on our scale on the Day of Judgment. And may Allah, again, grant shifa to all of those who are suffering. May He enter those who have passed away into Jannatul Firdaus without a count. And may He bless all of our acts during this month and keep us all safe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.